Hi, welcome to my YouTube channel, Invest with Chikwesere. In this platform, I teach smart investment ideas using investment tools and platforms like the stock market, real estate, bonds, mutual funds, treasury bills, and others. You cannot afford not to follow me in this channel because, as I said, I'm going to be dishing out smart investment ideas that cut across almost every form of financial instrument. So remember, as I always said in this channel, we are more interested about making so much profit, or what Nigerians may call cashing out big time, and also ensuring the security of our funds, because if your funds are not secured, it actually means that you are going to turn from being an investor to a spectator, because without funds, nobody knows you in the stock market, nobody is willing to sell to you on credit. So that is why we are not only interested about making monies in the stock market, we are also interested about securing or ensuring the security of your funds. So in case you are seeing my video for the first time, please do me a favor, subscribe, like, share, and also tell me what you think in the comment section about a particular video that you just watched. Last week, I was talking about an IPO I participated in, my lessons, my stories, and also how to adequately prepare for the IPO. And also, I promised you that in my next video, I'm going to be telling you what you need to do, especially as we're expecting one of the biggest IPOs in Nigerian exchange. I'm talking about the Dangote's refineries IPO. But that aside, today I want to share with you one of the biggest IPOs we're expecting in the history of the world. I'm not talking about only in Nigeria, I'm also talking about in New York Stock Exchange. Yes, I'm talking about the Wall Street. You know, it's always very important for you to diversify your portfolio. So when we talk about diversification, we are not talking about having a mix of, different financial instruments like treasury bills, bonds, company stocks, and others in your portfolio. It's not all about that. You can also diversify by not only investing in a particular stock exchange. For instance, you can spread your funds across different stock exchange like the Wall Street, that is US Stock Exchange. You can also invest in London Stock Exchange. You can also invest in Nigerian Stock Exchange, that is Nigerian Exchange Group. You can invest in all these things so that when we have a particular problem in one economy, you will not be hit so hard. So that is why it's very, very, you know, important for you to diversify your portfolio, not only with different financial instruments, but across different countries, across different, economy, in order to safeguard your funds. So today, in this video, I'm going to be discussing with you some of the biggest IPOs that we're expecting, in the history of the world as it stands today. As I said, I'm not talking about only Nigerian stock exchange or Nigerian stocks. I'm talking about big companies that cut across countries like the United States of America, which is also touted to be the biggest economy of the world today. So today I want to start with the local IPO that we're expecting, the one we can call the biggest IPO in Africa as of today. I'm talking about our own Dangote's refinery. Yes, I know lots of us are disappointed because we actually expected this IPO, to go public around May this year. That is May, June this year. But it's unfortunate that the IPO was actually shifted till around September this year. So it's not bad for some of us, but I know for other people, especially some beginner investors who must have sold some company stocks, have their physical cash, kept it idle, waiting for this IPO to go public so that they can actually take advantage of this IPO. Hearing that the IPO has now been shifted to September, or more, is not really going to be a funny one. So that is one of the reasons why I always tell you to follow me in this channel, because keeping your cash idle is not always, the right thing for you to do. You can actually keep them in some stocks. And I also mentioned in my last video that there are some things that I will never advise people to do. Selling off their choice companies because you want to participate in an IPO that have been overhyped. Yes, this Dangote's refineries IPO is really overhyped, and people are not looking at other companies that will have a direct impact as a result of Dangote going public. I'm talking about Dangote's refinery going public. There are many companies that are going to be affected by this listing. So people are not positioning themselves for those companies. They are only interested about this particular IPO. So today, let me list out for you some of the IPOs that are going to shake both the New York Stock Exchange and also the Nigerian Stock Exchange this year. Number one, as I mentioned, is the Dangote's IPO that was valued to be around $40 billion during the time of the IPO. Of course, you must know that this IPO of Dangote's refinery has really been expected, and lots of people are having their stakes on it. So right now, it's no longer going to be listed around uh, May, June this year. It's now shifted to September. I just hope it's not shifted again, because lots of people are already losing their patience about this particular IPO. But you must know that the IPO has already raised almost up to $2 billion in private placements. And one of the people that have really done this private placement is our own Femi Otedola, who was reported to have invested around $100 million in Dangote's refinery. So I know I also shared a story about the difference between buying something in the supermarket and also buying from the farm. So these people that are doing private placement are already buying from the farm. They are not waiting for the product to come to the supermarket or come to the retail store before they buy from it. They're already buying from the farm. That is actually the best example to describe what a private placement is. So as I said, don't forget to always be in this channel, because I'm going to be sharing all these things and the lessons extracted from my story when I participated in that big IPO that I was discussing about in this channel. So apart from the Dangote's refinery that I'm just talking about, the next IPO that is touted to be the biggest IPO in history is coming from Elon Musk. That is his SpaceX. Yes, so SpaceX is going to also be listed this year in New York Stock Exchange. I'm not sure I'm going to miss this. This IPO is going to come up around June 12th. Are you prepared? Yes, you have to be prepared. That is the biggest IPO in the history. Yes, it's said to have a value of up to $2 trillion. $2 trillion. That is almost more than the market capitalization of most big companies that you know today. Imagine a company like Uber having around 157, billion dollars as their market capitalization. This SpaceX pre-IPO listing is said to be around $2 trillion. That is massive, and I'm not sure that you will want to miss that IPO that is going to be the biggest, in the history of mankind. As of today, I don't know about tomorrow. I don't know the next company that is coming, but as of today, is very, very huge. And it's going to be listed under the ticker symbol of SPCX. So that is the ticker, symbol that you're going to see when it's finally listed around June 12th, as it's was promised. And that will take us to another big one. I'm talking about OpenAI. Yes, OpenAI is said to also going to do their initial public offering around September this year, and is said to be around a valuation of $1 trillion. SpaceX $2 trillion, and then OpenAI $1 trillion, and it's coming around September, the same time that we're expecting the Dangote's biggest IPO. That is why I said don't limit yourself to one country. Open up yourself, follow channels like this so that you can understand other opportunities that are going on in other economy. Yes, in other economy. Most of us may not even be interested in some of these local IPOs, because when it comes to making monies, you need to position yourself. But if you have what it takes, why not participate in all these IPOs? At the same time, just plan for it properly, and also make sure that you are well, positioned for it. So that is why I'm going to do a video on what you need to do, or how to adequately prepare for initial public offerings. Is very, very important, especially if you want to cash out, and also if you don't want to lose your monies, because as many people will be cashing out that period, other people will also be losing, and others will also be asked to wait for a long time, and that means tying down your resources. I don't know, but for some of us that are retail investors, so it's actually a very big deal for us, especially if you are forced by a company to tie down your resources. It's not always funny. I've been there several times. Even as I'm talking to you now, I'm also there in one company like that significantly tied down my capital. So that will take us to another big IPO that we're expecting this year, and that will be Anthropic IPO. Yes, Anthropic IPO. Don't bother. I don't want to make this video to be unnecessarily long. I know some of you may be expecting that I give you a detail of what all these companies are into, but I will do that in subsequent videos. So I don't want this video to be too long. So that is why you have to be in this channel, waiting for the next video to drop, so that you can get all the necessary information you need to know about all these investment opportunities. So Anthropic is said to, going to be up. I mean, the initial public offerings is going to be up around October this year, and is said to be valued around $900 billion. $900 billion. SpaceX, $2 trillion. OpenAI, $1 trillion. And now Anthropic, $900 billion. These are big guys, big players, big companies in New York Stock Exchange. So apart from that one, another big one that we're expecting is OPay. Yes, OPay. I'm sure for people that are in Nigeria, most of them are very conversant with the fintech company called OPay that is said to have about 40 million, users in Nigeria alone. So many of us were really disappointed to now hear that OPay is not going to be listed on our own NGS. Instead, it's taking its initial public offerings to the United States. Yes, they said the IPO is going to be listed in the United States of America, and is going to increase its valuation from the $2 billion that we know to up to $4 billion. That is another big one that we're expecting in IPO space. So these are the major IPOs that we're expecting this period. Of course, there are lots of IPOs that are coming up, companies springing up and down, and, waiting for investors to take advantage of it. So this is me telling you that you need to prepare, because this year has a lot of opportunities, a lot of opportunities that are waiting for you to take advantage of them. And of course, it's only the one that is well prepared that can actually take advantage of all these opportunities. So as I said, in the subsequent videos, I'm going to tell you how to adequately prepare for initial public offerings so that you can maximize, the profits that is, locking in all these IPOs and also minimize your loss. But of course, as I said, if you are not well informed, you may also run into trouble. If you are not losing your money, you may be forced to wait a longer time in order to even recover your capital, less of talking about profits. So that is it in this video. As I said, I don't want it to be too long. Those are some of the biggest IPOs that we are expecting this year. I don't know the one that you are so much interested in. You can tell me in the comment section so that I can tell you what the companies are doing and how to adequately prepare for it. And also don't forget to check out for my videos in this channel so that you can understand my own personal story about participating on a particular IPO that went as viral and was actually talked about by the media and also overhyped on the internet. So if you check some of my videos in this channel, you're going to see that video, and I bet you it's really going to teach you a lot. So lots of videos are coming up on this channel, so stay tuned. I will see you in the next video. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and also share your own opinion and thoughts in the comment section. I will be there waiting for you. Let's see in the next video. Bye for now.